It's time!
Hey, Dave, listen up, please.
Scottie, that's a great question. I got a question for you, though, Scottie. You know that there's other players on our team besides Desi.
But what are you waiting for?
I don't know, something amazing.
Jones for three, and he banks it in. Bailey, up and in, and a chance for three.
Well, it is that time of the year. It is indeed March Madness. Seth Campbell joined by Scottie Bordelon here on the Basketball Podcast of Mid-America. Arkansas is going dancing. And while the tournament days may have shifted one day back so that the tournament is now Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, the familiar feel of March is indeed upon us. And I got to say, Scottie, welcome back, March Madness, you sexy son of a gun.
That's nice, right? Filling out a bracket, and you miss it too.
Oh,
Like, I think I filled it out with a quickness. Like, I don't. If I went back and looked at my bracket, I would probably change some things. But with basketball availability and spring football and all that, I haven't had a chance to go back and like really, really look at it. But I still feel pretty good about my bracket. I've got a team that, like I said on Sunday, I'm riding till the wheels fall off.
so you filled yours out quick.
Yeah,
Okay.
really quick.
This is the latest I've ever waited to fill mine out.
You still haven't done
I haven't
it yet?
filled it out yet. I don't know. I think it's like one of those things I was cherishing it so much.
Yeah.
And the fact that it is pushed back a day, because normally games would have already been started, the first four. But still, games would have already been started. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that you could possibly have Arkansas, or not Arkansas, because Arkansas is going to be playing on a Friday, and if they win on Sunday, but the teams that don't start playing until Saturday, if they win on Saturday, there's a possibility that they could be playing at high noon on a Monday.
Yes.
That sucks.
Yes.
I hate it for fans of those teams, but at the same time, I'm not covering one of those teams, and so I will happily have it on while I'm working on Monday.
Monday while I'm working is going to be, so instead of the two least productive days in the work week being on Thursday and Friday, it's going to be Friday and Monday. It's not going to stop. I mean, yeah, there's less games because, well, they're cut in half, but still, I think that people are still going to not be productive on that Monday. It's
So
just
how do you still feel about Arkansas getting like a early game on a Friday?
I told you my opinion. I like it. You get it out of the way.
I like it from like our perspective.
I know
like,
that fans are going to be ticked.
I'm gonna have Friday night to do whatever.
Probably to sit back on the couch and veg out and watch more basketball.
Yeah, exactly.
Knowing in my back of my mind whether Arkansas wins or loses that this is okay.
But they're playing like the second or third earliest game of the whole tournament.
Yeah, I think there's one before them.
That's crazy to me. I'm not a huge fan of it, but at the same time, you know, if Arkansas wins Friday, they'll probably get, hopefully they'll get, you know, a good time slot on Sunday.
Maybe the time slot though, Scottie, will lead to, I don't know, it probably will lead to an earlier Sunday game as well. Listen, all that matters is that if you keep winning, because by the time you make it to the Sweet 16, then all of those games are in prime time.
Right.
So then you don't have any choice. But, I mean, the Razorbacks could have a little bit of a Jack Kinley in them, like you said, I think it was last week, that, you know, prime time is when the Razorbacks play.
Yeah, they definitely carry that mindset into this tournament, I think. And we got Moses Moody and Eric Musselman on Tuesday, and Moses Moody was asked what his reaction is to him finding out that he was a Associated Press All-American honorable mention. And just to give you a kind of a glimpse into Moses Moody's frame of mind, he said, all the individual awards are great and all, but I'm here for the confetti. That's a great line. I think I'm going to start using that. Moses Moody, here for the confetti.
I think that any team that makes a run in the tournament has to have a guy that elevates his play, a guy that can play at the next level. And Arkansas has that weapon this year in Moses Moody. So that doesn't mean that Arkansas will. Colgate's a very good team. They shoot it well. We're going to talk to Simon Gerszberg or later on in this podcast, who works with the Colgate team and also owns the website shotquality.com. We talked to him earlier in the year, and it just seemed appropriate that we talk to him now.
Yeah, as soon as I found out, or not long after I found out Colgate was Arkansas's matchup, I was like, shot a text to him in our group text. I was like, dude, we got to have you on.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause, I mean, he probably knows Colgate as well as anyone, I would imagine. I mean, having been in the program, been around Jordan Burns and Matt Langle
So
I'm excited.
Sorry, Scottie. I didn't
You're
mean to
good.
interrupt you there. But we're going to get into Colgate talk, and Arkansas could lose to Colgate. Arkansas could lose in their second round game. But also, there is the makings there of a team that could make a run. Well, I'm not pumping sunshine and rainbows at you here. Arkansas is going to have a tough task if they have to play Ohio State, Baylor,
Texas Tech in the
Texas
second round.
Tech, or even Utah State. Utah State
Yeah.
might pull off that upset, and I wouldn't put it past them. And then that's not an easy matchup either. So there's all of these variables that go into. That's why it's March. That's why they call it madness. And I think that there is that possibility, though, that Arkansas could, because they have a player like Moody. Now, for 6 games here, however many Arkansas plays, Moody can probably ill afford to have a game like he did in the first round of the SEC tournament against Missouri.
Offensively.
I think maybe you can get away with it against Colgate. Maybe.
Mhm.
I don't know. But Moses Moody is going to need to be Moses Moody. You need to have a little Chelsea Dungy in you in the big games. Step up.
Yeah.
And that's what Arkansas is going to have from Moses if they want to go far. But they do have some aspect of a team that can make it to the Final Four.
I mean,
Unlike teams that Arkansas has had where there's some question marks.
Yeah, I mean, this time of the year, you want to have pros on your team. Moses Moody's a bona fide pro.
Mm-hmm.
He is, I mean, he's going to go in the top 10 of the upcoming NBA draft. There's no doubt in my mind there. And you've got, I don't know that you've got another NBA guy, but you've got other guys on your roster who are going to eventually play for a check somewhere. Like Justin Smith is too good of a player to not play basketball for as long as he wants to. Might be overseas, but he's going to. JD Note is the same way. Like somebody's going to take a shot on JD Note. It's because the dude's he's a walking bucket, and he's improving on the defensive end. And so you've got these pieces, and like that Desi Sills hasn't been playing great lately, but he's capable. If he sees a couple shots down, he can get hot. He can flip a switch, kind of like Justin Smith has been in the second half of games over like the last month. And I mean, you've got a lot of pieces that you like, and Devo Davis is another guy who's he's probably going to go into next year with some All SEC preseason stuff attached to his name. Jalen Williams the same way. I mean, it's great for Arkansas to have Jalen Williams back.
Yes.
Big time. And that's going to take a little bit of the load off of Justin Smith. We talked on Sunday. I think Justin ended up having to play all 40 minutes against Texas A&M. And then I think you could see fatigue was setting in a little bit with Justin on those legs. And I think that led to some of the not all, but some of the turnovers that he had in Nashville. He had 10 in those 2 games. And some of them were just, I think, fatigue, just getting a little bit sloppy. But you're right. Arkansas's got the pieces to make a run. And one night it might be Moses Moody and Justin Smith. The next night it might be Devo Davis making things happen in the open floor, that off the dribble mid-range game that he's got. And it might be JD Note pairing up with him too. Like you've got a lot of weapons. You feel pretty good. You feel pretty good going into the first weekend that, you go into Colgate confident. And if you put that game to bed, I mean, you just got to start with Texas Tech or Utah State, but Muss knows a lot about Utah State, having been in the Mountain West, and what Texas Tech's going to bring you. Like, they're really good defensively, and they've got Mac McClung and a bunch of tough offensive rebounders, and it's a team that takes takes really good shots, according to what Simon's site says. So I'm pumped. I'm ready to get this thing rolling.
I am so excited. Just giddy with excitement. There's no better time than March. This is the 2 best sports days of the entire year. It's up there for me with Christmas. I think that's how big I like Thursday and Friday, which is now Friday and
Last Saturday was great. Last Saturday and last Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was just so much good basketball on, and it went all the way. It bled over into the selection show a little bit. Like it was a lot of fun. Like you got LSU, Alabama going down to the wire, Illinois, Ohio State in overtime in the Big Ten title game. I mean, those 2 days were like heaven on earth for a college basketball fan, and there's more coming. It's going to be really fun.
Let's talk, before we talk a little bit more about Arkansas, which we're going to get into. I want to talk the impact Jalen Williams has, and then Scottie has some numbers on J.D. Note and Moses Moody shooting here recently. Before you do that, give us your dark horse. So a team that you think is undervalued that's going to make it. It's like a lower seed that's going to make it to Sweet 16. That's what I would say.
Oh, it's a good question. I could really honestly see LSU doing it. I know people are not going to like that answer, but that offense is terrifying. And it really is. And think about it. Michigan is the 1 seed in LSU's bracket.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan's not exactly at full strength, I don't think. I think one of their players, Isaiah Livers, is injured. I believe that's right. And so you give LSU a crack at Michigan when Michigan's not at full strength and LSU's going in this thing full bore. If they can play some semblance of defense, I could very easily see LSU getting to the Sweet 16 just because they can score with anyone. I mean, it's Javonte Smart, Trendon Watford, Cam Thomas. I mean, Cam Thomas hits shots so deep that I was watching the Arkansas LSU game the other day. He hit one of those deep shots, and I called him Damn Thomas. He will just like pull up from anywhere, and without thinking, he's kind of got that. Him and J.D. Note are kind of from that same mold. Not the same players, but neither one of them have a conscience on the offensive end, and they will pull from literally anywhere. That could come back to bite you, but it could also be very rewarding if a guy like that is on. And he's been on much more often than not this season because he's averaging close to 25 a game as a freshman. And he's good. He knows he's good. And I like Trendon Watford a lot. I would, if I had to create an NCAA tournament team with the guys who are in the tournament, Trendon Watford would probably be on my first team.
Okay.
I really like him.
That's a high praise for an 8 seed.
I really like him a lot. I like Trendon Watford a lot, and I mean, you saw it when he was matched up with Justin Smith. There's no back down from either one of those guys, and they got the better of each other every so often. But there's no fear in Trendon Watford, and that edge that LSU plays with that could come in handy, you know, in the tournament, especially in a game like Michigan. Those guys are going to be up for that.
Okay. So LSU's so hit and miss.
I agree with that.
I'm almost scared to pick them in the first round, much less the second. But it was a good pick. That would be a dark horse. That would work. I say keep an eye out for UConn. I don't know who they play in the first round. I should have it pulled up, but I don't have my computer on me right now. They play Bama. They're matched up with Bama in that 4-game quadrant. They could give Bama fits. Their leading scorer is, I'm going to butcher his name because I don't watch UConn basketball, but Bouknight.
Yeah, they're playing Maryland in the first round.
Playing Maryland, okay. He's a bucket now. And if Alabama gets into one of those nights where they just don't shoot the ball well, or, you know, maybe they could be gassed, they could be overlooking UConn. I don't know. It's hard for me to think that any team is overlooking anybody in the NCAA tournament when it's literally lose or go home. But UConn could give Bama trouble. So I would kind of circle that game as maybe a little question mark. I don't know if I'm going to pick UConn or not, but I would give UConn the benefit of the doubt there.
especially so now, nobody is overlooking anyone.
Yeah.
Like, especially after Virginia loses to UMBC a couple years ago. Like, that, I think, put a lot of the higher seeds on alert. It was like, we really need to focus, take care of business, so we're not a national story for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, nobody's going to forget Virginia and UMBC.
Absolutely. No, absolutely not.
All right, let's get into it. Jalen Williams is back for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Obviously, the Hogs missed him while he was gone. What does this mean? Do you know what it means for the Razorbacks moving forward in Indiana, Scottie?
Yeah, so Jalen Williams being back, like I said a minute ago, it just takes some of the burden off of Justin Smith's back. Just feeling like he has to touch every area of the game all the time. Like, he can't. Eric Musselman never wants his guys to, like, be lax on the floor. But Jalen Williams' return will allow for, one, those two guys to share the floor, Jalen and Justin to share the floor, and they've been phenomenal together, especially in February when they were on the floor together. I think they gave up something like 0.83 points per possession over nearly 300 defensive possessions, which is stunning. Like, in that month, 4 of those teams are in the NCAA tournament. So that's impressive in itself. And the other 2 teams were Mississippi State and Kentucky. So lots of talent on those teams. Jalen is on the radar of Colgate's coach. I talked to Matt Langle on Tuesday and just asked him about Jalen. He said, he gives Arkansas another dynamic talent in the front court that has shown he can step out and knock down a shot. He's a true big. He's a rim protector, leads the team in charges. I mean, he's the only Razorback to ever come off the bench and grab 10-plus rebounds, and he's done it 3 times. Or I think he's the only Razorback to do it 3 times, and he's done it as a freshman, which is just really impressive. He's a rebounding machine. His rebounding numbers per 40 minutes are just outrageous because he's just a defensive rebound magnet. A little bit of an underrated offensive rebounder too, I think. Super efficient around the rim. So that'll, like, welcome back. Like, that's I mean, you love having him back, and he provides even more stability in the front court because we've seen over the last, especially in the SEC tournament, Connor Vanover just didn't have it.
Yeah.
Just didn't have it. Couldn't find his touch on his jump shot, and got a little bit exposed, with his lack of lateral quickness. And so that brought Ethan Henderson out, and Ethan Henderson played terrific, I thought, for the most part in both of those games, but he's limited in what he can give you offensively unless he's in the rim, so to speak. Blocked a couple shots, like blocked another one out of bounds. Like, I think that's 3 since the Alabama game in Bud Walton, but I don't know that that's like a long-term solution. You know what I mean? You would like to have a guy on the floor who, I don't want to say he's positionless, but he's a big, but can also step out on the perimeter. Ethan is, like, not a threat outside the restricted area, really.
Right.
So Jalen coming back is huge, and Eric Musselman's ecstatic. Like, he posted 2 pics of Jalen on his Twitter account on Monday. Like, he's pumped.
Like a high schooler with a crush.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, look at this guy. I love him so much. He's pumped. And Moses Moody said that it looked on Monday that Jalen hadn't lost a step. I mean, he was, like, hanging on the rim and running the floor, giving them some of the same moves that they've become accustomed to seeing throughout the year. And so I don't want to overhype Jalen because, like Moses and Devo, like, this is going to be their first tournament appearance. I mean, it's on a big stage. There's a lot riding on this, a lot on the line. It's win or go home. But I think he's going to be locked in. And like Moses Moody said, like, he's a hooper, and anytime you have the game taken away from you, you're going to do anything you can to get back. And then when you get back, I don't think you're ever going to take it for granted again.
That makes sense. I mean, he's a key part to why Arkansas went on the run that they did.
Yeah.
And to not have him for the end of the season and then for the SEC tournament hurt Arkansas.
Yeah, so during February, when Arkansas was really hitting their stride, lineups with Jalen Williams in, 0.88 points per possession allowed, over 271 defensive possessions. Arkansas was plus 36, and they went 6-0. That's when he really hit his stride.
I think they're just a different basketball team with him on the court. He plays defense well, and like you said, he can stretch out the... It's
such a good sign when you've got two guys in your front court that you can say that about. Like with Justin, changes everything. Provides... He's like the on-court team dad, and even when he's, I guess, out of the game, he's still your team dad. But Jalen Williams is kind of like his sidekick in a way. Eric Musselman's in a good position with that front court right now. If you can get something out of Connor Vanover too, Arkansas's front court could make a huge impact in this tournament. Could lead to a run.
Do you think Arkansas comes out with the same starting five they have been?
Yes, I think if it doesn't go well, and Connor's
going to be on a short leash again
a little bit of a liability, Eric Musselman is going to be ready to ride Justin and Jalen. I think that's the way to go. Those two dudes have been terrific on the defensive end, and I think it would be great. Eric Musselman definitely wants to put up a ton of points in his first game, but I think he's also okay with putting a defensive group out there that is the most connected. Which lineup is going to help Arkansas limit the three-point shot of Colgate, limit their second chances, and give Jordan Burns the biggest problem. And I think it's a group with Justin and Jalen that all those guys can get out to the perimeter and contest. And so I think that's the way he's going to go. Maybe just not to start, but first media timeout, I would expect Jalen to be in there.
Okay. I think Connor can have some success. They like to play fast, Colgate does. But also, when you look at their highlights, and I only watched the highlights. I didn't watch all, they only played 15 games this year.
Did they make every shot in their highlights?
Yeah, it's amazing. But also, a lot of their points didn't come off of transition. There were a lot of points that were run off of sets or in the half court.
Half court, yeah.
They're good shooters, without a doubt, but that might play into Connor Vanover's benefit. And then also just to see, the first few teams that Arkansas played this year in the entire season, they had some trouble just adjusting to the fact that there was a 7'3" guy down below. So there could be some of that with Colgate. You never know.
I wonder if Eric Musselman is going to go with that kind of run and jump, soft trap type thing on defense on Burns.
Yeah.
But at the same time, does he do that though? Because the Cummings kid, I think, is a second team All Patriot League guy too, and I think Matt Langle is probably smart enough to know that, if they run two guys at my guy, then I'm just going to put my second best guy in that spot receiving the pass, and then we're playing 4-on-3 with Vanover at the rim, and who knows? We'll see, but it's going to be interesting to see the way that Arkansas kind of attacks Jordan Burns, because he's the head of the snake for them.
All right, then what about, you talked about Arkansas's front court. What about the back court? You got some numbers on J.D. Note and Moses Moody.
Yeah, so Bob's got a story on J.D. Note on the front page of Whole Hog this morning. He was Sixth Man of the Year in the SEC last week by the league's coaches, right? And I remember I was watching the SEC tournament, and Ben Howland was talking about Alabama because Mississippi State had just beaten Kentucky in their first round game, and Ben Howland was talking about Alabama. He's like, I think, I voted Javon Quinterly for Sixth Man of the Year. And I was like, oh, wow. And he liked Quinterly over J.D. Note, but Note over the last 6 games has been, he's been playing pretty well on both ends of the floor. He had a really rough stretch shooting the ball against LSU after he came out hot. I think he missed his next 8 or 9 shots. But as a whole, the last 6 games, would you believe me if I told you J.D. Note was 5 of 10 on catch and shoot threes from the left wing and 2 of 5 in the left corner, and 3 of 7 on the right wing. I mean, that's pretty
good.
That's pretty good. And short mid-range is pretty solid. He's 4 out of 8 there, and he's 3 out of 4 in transition. And he's still, he's still giving you some good minutes on the defensive end of the floor. I think it's with him, it's just kind of turnovers right now because he's not taking like a ton of bad shots. Like he missed a lot of shots consecutively against LSU, but not all of them were bad shots. I mean, if they would have gone in, you'd have been like, yeah, way to go, JD. But he missed them. Sometimes shots just don't fall.
Right.
He's playing really well. And then Moses has been tearing it up. Like he really has. And the last 4 games, he scored 28 in 3 of them. And one of them was in SEC tournament semifinals against an LSU team that doesn't exactly play great defense, but they've got some dudes that, when their offense is really rolling, they will be more engaged defensively. And the last 4 games, Moses on catch and shoot threes is 5 of 11 from the left wing, 4 of 6 in the right corner, and he's 4 of 6 on off the bounce mid-range shots. Those last 4 games, he's 4 of 4 on shots following an offensive rebound, and he's 3 of 4 on shots after he drops the ball. And he hit the only 3 he took off the bounce. So the dude's good. He's a problem.
Just a little bit.
Really good. I'm excited I'm going to put that into writing pretty soon. But Moses he knows, I think he knows that he's really, really good, but you would never get that. Like, I don't get that vibe from him that he thinks he's better than everyone. So he just keeps working. He keeps working. And his off the bounce game, like we texted about it yesterday, it's just evolved throughout the year. I think early in the year he was perfectly fine with just being a spot up guy, but now he's got an off the bounce mid-range package.
Yeah.
The package is there.
He's in his bag, baby.
Yeah, like his fries are at the bottom.
Oh my gosh, what a quote.
I stole that from Mark Jones, so I can't. Mark Jones of ESPN, he says that sometimes when Steph Curry's going off and Dame Lillard, some of those guys, Devin Booker, shout out to my Suns who are second in the Western Conference right now. But Moses, his mid-range package is it's great. Like, you'll see him catch on the left wing, take his defender off the bounce into the left short corner, shot fake, get him up in the air, get to the free throw line. Then other times he can catch at the top of the key, shot fake, get to the free throw line, knock down that jumper with ease. And he's even knocked down a couple of catch and shoot mid-range shots from like that foul line elbow area. Those are money shots for him. And then when teams start to overreact to his catch and shoot ability and his mid-range game, he'll take them all the way to the rim, and he might not finish, but odds are he's going to get to the line. I mean, and that is the definition of a 3-level scorer, and he's elite 3-level scorer.
Without a doubt, I think he's going to be the reason if Arkansas can make a run in the NCAA tournament. I think it will be because of Moses Moody.
I don't think the moment's going to be too big for him either. Like, he's played on a national scale, on a national stage since high school.
Yeah. So this is kind of interesting. I was listening to the radio and I think it was Greenberg, one of the mics that has a radio show that is on up here in Northwest Arkansas. He was talking to Ray Allen, and Ray Allen was talking about basketball, and he's like, "Oh, I just love basketball. It's so smooth. It looks so pretty from just fans watching it." And he's like, "It is." And they're like, "Well, y'all just make it look easy because y'all are professional athletes." And he's like, every single thing that we do is choreographed. And they're like, that doesn't make any sense. And he's like, because we practice it. Mm-hmm. Every single thing that we've done is practice. From how Musselman prepares to where, this is what Ray Allen was saying. He's like, I know that when I'm defending this guy, he likes to take 2 dribbles to his right, cross over to his left, and take a step back 3. That's what I know about this guy. And so when I come into that, that's how I feel prepared. And that's how Musselman has taken that from the NBA into college. He has prepared his guys for that. But even more so than that, think about Moses Moody. So this is going to be the biggest stage that he's played on, yes. But when you go to the prep academy that he went to and play against guys that are on your team like Cade Cunningham, you know what it's like to play at an elite level against elite talent. You've been in front of scouts already. And then you go and you play in the SEC, and yeah, maybe not every single game is going to be like this with the spotlights on you, but he's repped it against some of the best guys that are playing college ball right now, to where it's just going to come second nature to him. And I think that right there, that practice is why I agree with you, Scottie, that I don't think the moment is going to be too big for Moses Moody. All right. Well, Scottie and I are going into our bag like fries are at the bottom, and we're going to talk to Simon Gerszberg from shotquality.com next. He worked with the Colgate team, and we are going to get some insight. We're going to go deep. And then after Simon's interview, stay tuned, because Scottie and I are going to give you what we think might be some keys for the Razorbacks to make a run in the NCAA tournament before we wrap it up here on the Basketball Podcast of Mid-America. Welcome back into the Basketball Podcast of Mid-America. Seth Campbell, Scottie Bordelon. We are joined by Simon Gerwig of the Gerszberg. Wait.
Just restart it.
Sorry.
You're good.
Dad.
That was good though.
Gummit.
You're good, dude. It's all right.
I did not mean to do that. So it's Can you say it one more time for me?
Gerszberg.
Okay. I don't know
Tough
why.
pronunciation. It's a tough pronunciation. No worries.
So my phone auto-corrected to Gerwig. That's why I called it Gerszberg. Okay.
My last name gets mispronounced all the time, too. I feel it.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back into the Basketball Podcast of Mid-America. Seth Campbell, Scottie Bordelon, and we are joined by Simon Gerszberg of shotquality.com. Simon, so thankful to have you on here. First and foremost, where are you right now? Because you do some stuff with the Colgate team. Are you in the bubble with them?
I am not. So I am at Colgate University. I'll be driving up early tomorrow morning. I'm worried for Arkansas in this game. You guys should be trembling, honestly.
All right. So what is the feel around Colgate, their basketball team, and the university about this game?
They are very confident. There are a lot of picks on ESPN and other applications that have just been picking Colgate over Arkansas. Obviously, I think it's a 10-point spread, so that's pretty big discrepancy to pick a darling Cinderella school. But I do believe in the Colgate basketball team, and I'm just going to ream into all the Arkansas players on this podcast.
Hey, we're ready for it. We're ready for it.
Yeah, so I was kind of wondering if you could go a little bit deeper on your experience with Colgate's basketball team, and just maybe tell us what we should know about Matt Langle. I was on the Colgate Zoom call yesterday with him and Jordan Burns, and
nice.
liked Matt Langle a lot and what he had to say. Could you just maybe tell us a little bit about him?
Of course, yeah. So his poise, halftime speeches, post-game speeches, and his eloquence is so incredible. I've never seen someone put together such eloquent speeches before, just right off the top of his head. And the offense he runs is the most efficient offense I could imagine running. I can't even think of I'm literally doing this for a living right now, shot quality. And the shots that they manufacture on the court is literally the most efficient shots you could possibly manufacture. So, Coach Lango is really maximizing this roster as much as he possibly can.
What is that offense?
So it's a spread offense, a lot of 5 out. But they just manufacture so many shots at the rim and so many wide open threes, especially for all these great shooters. It's just so easy.
So looking at, if you look up Colgate, one of the first things that pops up on the internet, besides Burns, is obviously their last game against Loyola. There were a ton of open threes in that game for the Colgate Raiders. How do they manufacture? How do they draw that attention away from the three-point line, especially for a team that shoots the three well?
So a lot of it's just due to the spacing. So I have a stat on the website basically how good each team's spacing is on the court based off 3-point attempts, guarded 3-point attempts, rim frequency, and because obviously just creating gravity on the court is the best way to open up shots. And because opponents have to close out on every single player besides Keegan, who's the starting center, basically it just creates so much spacing for the team. So Colgate's ranked 23rd in the country in spacing. Arkansas is pretty good as well, actually, but not that good, I think, compared to Colgate in that area.
Simon, in your opinion, where does Colgate have an advantage in this game, or what are the advantages that you see for them in this game?
Well, here, let me take a look quickly. So the one advantage that scares me with Arkansas is how well you guys protect the paint. So we obviously manufacture great three-point looks, but the low-key part of our team is how many easy layups we get with Keegan and our backup center, Jeff. Basically just running pick and roll with Jordan and Jack and Tuck. You just get so many open looks, and I'm worried that those won't be there against a great defensive team like Arkansas. And in terms of advantage, it's really just going to come down to how many threes we hit, because we've had a few games this year where we got cold from three. We've had a lot of defensive three-point luck. Actually, we're the number one three-point defense in the country, but we don't guard the three that well. It's really just like the teams that are shooting it aren't shooting that well against us. But, yeah, I mean, I think the advantage is going to be the shooting for sure.
Talking to Simon Gerszberg of shotquality.com, and there's a ton of stuff on your website, Simon, about this game. What does Shot Quality tell you about these two teams as they match up?
So, actually, surprisingly enough, this just shows my algorithm is not biased. I actually have Arkansas winning by more than the spread. Which is kind of funny because I feel like I should just tweak the algorithm just to make a Colgate win. But yeah, so I have Arkansas favor, or the algorithm is Arkansas favored by 13 in the game, 13.5 actually. And it's kind of crazy because Colgate, it's really just based off the strength of the schedule, and that's the reason why. Like, Colgate's played as well as they possibly can for the teams that they've been playing, but it's just like they haven't played an SEC team or a Big 12 or Big 10 team, so it's really hard to judge how well it's going to translate in the game with 7-3 centers and big guys, Moody, top 5 picks. Like, there's just too many variables, and I think that's why the system likes Arkansas by even a little more than Vegas.
So when Jordan Burns is on the floor, I remember the game he had against Tennessee where he just went absolutely, like, lost his mind on the floor, just went crazy. When he's on the floor, he's doing his thing. What's he doing well?
It's the off the dribble 3-point shooting. He really is like a special off the dribble player. Like when he gets hot, like there's no numbers to quantify what's going on there. It's just him feeling it, and the momentum's carrying him. He's in the 70th percentile in off the dribble shooting.
Wow.
88th in catch and shoot shooting. And he just like, if he's feeling it, that's when I'm scared. My roommate actually said to me today, like, if Jordan scores more than 30, what % chance do you think Colgate has to win? And I said like 50, because I feel like if he pops off, that's our chance. If he plays exactly how he did against Tennessee, that's how I think we're going to end up winning this game.
Who are some other names? I think you mentioned Jack Ferguson a little bit earlier, and him and Jordan Burns in the pick and roll. Maybe middle pick and roll, but like who are some of the guys that Arkansas fans should know about, like, around Jordan?
Tucker Richardson. He's the name you guys should know about. So basically, he's an incredible team defender. He's the glue of the team. Actually, if I'm being totally unbiased, he's one of my best friends at school too, but he's literally the key to this team. I think he's a really special defender, and I don't know who he's guarding in this game. Possibly Moody, possibly JD, I don't know, but he is special, and I think he's the key in this game, besides like Jordan getting hot.
Talking to Simon Gerszberg, shotquality.com. Simon, let's talk a little bit about Colgate on the defensive end, Arkansas on the offensive end. You mentioned it earlier. Colgate really hasn't seen a team like Arkansas this year, just with the weirdness of the COVID-19 schedule and all of that. What is going to be the plan for the Raiders on the defensive end?
So the one swing stat that I think is going to be the difference in the game, I kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, but the defensive three-point lock. So basically, Colgate this season is the number 1 3-point defense in the country. But based off the quality of like defense they're actually playing, they're projected to be the 15th best. So there is some discrepancy there based off what teams should be shooting against them and won't be. So what I'm really curious about is if that trend will reverse against Arkansas, because obviously they've only played 15 games this season. It's a small sample. And like, I don't believe that they're actually an elite 3-point defense. It's more just a product of teams missing shots against them. So I'm a little scared. Moses Moody getting hot from 3 and other guys as well.
So what was Colgate's run through, the regular season and the conference tournament like for you? I mean, what was it like kind of being up close and personal with that team and on their run?
I don't think, like I said right before they left for the bus, like I said, like this is like the most. So like they had like 30 minutes after the game before they got on the bus, and I was like hanging out with them quickly. It was like the most like I've never been more excited, like I think in my entire life, like for what's going on right now. Like this is like the most exhilarating feeling, and I cannot wait for this 10-hour drive tomorrow morning because I'm just ecstatic right now.
You look at adjusted efficiency for this team; they're ranked high, 110.9. Does Colgate like to get up and down the court?
For sure, they play at a pretty quick pace, and I think they average like 3rd most points in the country. I keep seeing that stat in all the games they play. So it's going to be interesting, the pace of the game. I think the over-under is around like 155, right, or 160.
I'd probably go over, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a crazy pace game, and I think, like I've mentioned time and time again, I think it's just going to come down to the 3-point lock. Like, if you check the box score and see Colgate shot 50% and Arkansas shot 30%, I think Colgate won this game. That's going to be the difference. And same in reverse. If they shoot the same percentage from 3, then I think Arkansas will handle it. But if Colgate could shoot like 10% better than Arkansas, I think Colgate might pull it out.
From a Colgate perspective, outside of Moses Moody on the offensive end, who kind of jumps out at you for Arkansas?
I think we went through this last time, but Connor Vanover, he's the big, right? He's like the 7'3" guy.
Right.
Yeah, he's the one that scares me with Colgate because like in the Patriot League, there's nobody like Connor Vanover Colgate's playing against. Like, there's some good bigs in the Patriot League, but nobody like this. I know he's a shooter mostly, but that interior paint, the way he's going to lock it down, I'm a little scared for the drives to the basket with Jordan and Ferg and everyone. I mean, Jordan and Ferg and Talk are all great finishers, but it's a little scary to see a 7'3" guy imposing his will on me for sure.
That's really interesting, Simon, that you mentioned that because Connor's been basically a non-factor in Arkansas's last basically 3 games against A&M, Missouri, and LSU just because of lateral quickness. Is that something that you could see maybe Colgate, while, yes, he is 7'3" and, he's got the wingspan of freaking giraffe, it seems like. Is that something that maybe you could see Colgate taking advantage of, is that lateral quickness, the lack of from Vanover?
No, I mean, most likely not, because the centers they have, I mean, Keegan's obviously incredible and Jeff is obviously incredible, but it's not like they're going to beat him off the dribble. So Musselman just stashes him in the paint. I think that should be fine for them because it's not like our centers space the floor, actually. Like, if our centers were shooters, then I think it would be really interesting. So I'm really curious to see what Lango does if he goes small, maybe against Arkansas, playing like staggering Ferg. Jack. But yeah, I don't think that's going to be an issue for Vanover.
Super pumped for this game. Glad you could come on and kind of break this down with us. But I'm sure you filled out a tournament bracket. Who have you got? What's your bracket looking like?
So the shot quality algorithm bracket, that's separate from like my personal one. The algorithm has Iowa beating Gonzaga and then winning the bracket, which is pretty crazy. The Final Four is also absurd too. It has Iowa, Bama, Texas Tech, and Illinois. So a lot of 2 2s, a 6, and the 1. So it's obviously pretty staggered. My personal bracket, I think that Iowa-Gonzaga game, if they play each other, it's going to be a toss-up. So I feel like I might just put Gonzaga in my personal one just because I think it is such a toss-up game. And I don't know who's going to win, so I want to at least come out on top on one of them.
That algorithm is those algorithm picks are interesting because, the winner of Arkansas Colgate could possibly end up playing Texas Tech in the second round.
Exactly. Yeah. That would be so funny. Let's say Texas Tech wins and Colgate wins. Like I'm gonna be so scared either way. Like I feel like it's a lost lot. No, I'm obviously pulling for Colgate, 100%. But that'd be sad if Texas Tech went down.
Why does the algorithm like Texas Tech so much?
So a lot of the algorithm is not based off the shots you get, but more holistically the possession quality. And the things that Texas Tech does well, they don't turn the ball over. They draw a lot of fouls. Mm-hmm. And these are things that you wouldn't really expect to be incorporated in shot quality because it's shot selection mostly. But really, we're looking at the possession quality, and they get high-quality possessions on the offensive and defensive end. And I think the algorithm just thinks they're a really, really good team. They've just had a lot of bad luck this season, and that's really the problem for them. The last two losses they've had, this is crazy. The Baylor loss, they lost by 15, but based off the shots they got, they were supposed to win by 7.
Wow.
And the Texas loss that they lost by 1, based off the shots they got, they were supposed to win by 10. So, they're a better team than what's been on the court recently, and I think that luck might swing for Chris Beard in the tournament.
Well, Simon, I also, follow you on Twitter, Shot Quality, and then also just follow you personally. But what about, I've seen some new things that y'all are rolling out, maybe some gambling stuff. What all is going on with shotquality.com right now?
Yeah, right now we just released the March Madness page, which has the breakdown of every possible matchup. So if you wanted to see what the projected score would be for Arkansas Colgate, but not Arkansas Colgate, let's say Arkansas Texas Tech, you could see that. So you can basically see every single game, and it's not just a score prediction, it's also a breakdown on who's hot in the game, who's cold, the five best skills that each team has. So the strengths and weaknesses of Colgate, the strengths and weaknesses of Arkansas. And I think it's a valuable tool for filling out your bracket for sure.
Simon, before we let you go, is there anything that we missed, anything that we should look out for in this game on Friday?
Yeah, Arkansas is screwed.
Oh man, I absolutely love it.
Put the cherry on top of the interview.
Should we I don't know, should there be something riding on the line between the basketball podcast of Mid-America and shotquality.com for this game? Should there be some kind of incentive here?
The issue is that it's kind of a contradiction of the algorithm for me to say that, but it's just my personal bias to say Colgate's screwed. Arkansas screwed because technically do it Arkansas as a bigger favorite than Vegas, but I'm obviously going with my instincts here, and Arkansas is definitely screwed.
Well, if Arkansas winds up winning, we're working on getting some T-shirts done for the podcast. We'll shoot you a T-shirt up to New York.
That's what I love to hear. I'd love one of those T-shirts. You give me a Moses Moody T-shirt of him dunking on someone.
There you go.
All right. Well, hey, really appreciate you joining us on today's basketball podcast in Mid-America, Simon.
Yeah, drive safe tomorrow too.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, give us a shout out. Give us a text about that whole bubble atmosphere in Indianapolis. Scottie and I are staying in Northwest Arkansas for this point, so
Eric Musselman didn't sound too high on the bubble life experience yesterday, and Moses Moody didn't really give me a whole lot, but any insight into that would be appreciated.
I'm actually not going to be in the bubble. But,
that's right.
I can get some insight from my Colgate friends for sure.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, you can also comment on the entire atmosphere as a whole. It's got to be weird going to, the entire NCAA tournament's held in one city, but still with limited attendance. There's probably not going to be just a ton of people there, especially for it being the NCAA tournament.
I was actually at the Tennessee Colgate game 2 years ago, and that was one of the best crowd atmospheres I've ever been on because everyone was pulling for Colgate in that game just because we're a toothpaste and we're an underdog against Tennessee. So this will be definitely a huge altering location compared to last time, and different atmosphere. So I'm definitely pumped to see something different. But hopefully whatever the attendance is will still get me jacked up for the game.
I feel like
hopefully the people that'll be there will be, they'll make enough noise for 2 or 3 people.
I feel like we've said bye 3 times. Before we say bye again, I gotta ask: do the toothpaste jokes get old?
Yeah, they're like the worst things in the world.
I can imagine. It's
I remember like the Tennessee fans were like talking shit about like toothpaste to me, and I'm just like, I don't care. I just want us to cook you. Like I don't care about these toothpaste jokes.
They're already old for me, just
same.
covering, because everybody
I'm over
thinks
it.
that they're funny with a pun. And it's like,
It's
that is
literally
not
like the easiest thing in the world to do. Like, get a little bit more creative.
I
Yeah,
think.
come on, be original at least. Come on.
All right. Well, Simon, as I said once before, and I'll say it again, thanks so much for joining us.
Of course, appreciate it, guys.
As Simon Gerszberg from shotquality.com. Make sure to check out his website one more time, shotquality.com. You can get some fantastic insight. If you're into the gambling side of things, he's got some great information there. Maybe win you some money, and he's also got just anything that you can want. Maybe if you haven't filled out your bracket yet and you're waiting till the last minute, you can also check out shotquality.com.
All that insight on that website. I mean,
That's crazy.
That can help you fill out your bracket.
For sure. Well, we're going to head to a break. When we come back, we're going to give you some keys for Arkansas in the NCAA tournament. Basketball podcast of Mid-America is back, and man, that's nothing short of spectacular from Simon there. Some great stuff. We mentioned it before the first time we had it, but shotquality.com is a fantastic website. You should really go check it out, especially if you're into the analytics of basketball. It's
Seriously, let it help you determine who you're advancing in your bracket.
What? Yes. Let's be smart here, people. Most of you are playing for money. I don't know if that's legal anymore or what, with gambling laws or whatever, but most of you out there are playing for money. Let Simon's algorithm win you some money. All right?
It was interesting that his algorithms got
Tech.
Arkansas winning first. It's got Arkansas winning by more than what Vegas has put out to this point, and then Texas Tech, because I think the talk about Texas Tech is just really good defensively, limited on offense.
Mm-hmm.
But
his algorithm is saying that they're just going to get unlucky, right?
Yeah, I think so. And they've got a player on that team in Mac McClung that he can make things happen himself. But it's not just him, obviously, on the offensive end. Kyler Edwards is pretty good, but that was pretty interesting. I've also got Illinois and Alabama in my Final Four.
Good, because I had them being upset in the second round. So I mean,
You did? By who?
UConn.
Oh man,
That's who UConn plays. I'm not that high on Alabama. I don't know. It may come back to cost me. We'll see. All right. Keys. Let's get into some keys for the Arkansas Razorbacks if they are going to stay in the state of Indiana for a while.
What you got?
You can't turn the ball over. The turnover rate these past few games,
Yeah, it was outrageous in Nashville.
not great.
Tied a season high with 20 against Missouri, and then you had 16 more against LSU that turned into 21 points. That matched a season high for opponents' points off turnovers. That also happened against Oral Roberts and then the Auburn game in Bud. I mean, that can't happen.
It can't happen. Those are possessions that you're not throwing the ball at the rim. If you don't throw the ball at the rim, it's not going to go in. Arkansas can force turnovers well, but that just becomes a negated fact if you force turnovers but then give it right back to the other team with turnovers on your other end. So got to take care of the ball, and I think that will come with Jalen Tate staying out of early foul trouble. He's Arkansas's main ball handler when he is on the court, and he's decently good most of the time at limiting turnovers. If he can stay on the court, stay out of those early fouls that he seems to have gotten the past 3 games, then that could be a factor for Arkansas.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He needs to stay on the floor. I mean, there's no two ways about it. Not only is he arguably Arkansas's best perimeter defender, he can, with his size and his length, match up with forwards on occasion too. Like, he can probably defend 1 through 4, and Eric Musselman feel pretty good about it. Jalen Tate being on the floor, this is not to knock JD Notae, but the numbers just, they don't lie. When I'm looking at on Hoop Lens, if Jalen Tate goes out of the game, JD Notae is probably the guy coming in off the bench. JD played great against Missouri. He started great against LSU and then kind of faded a little bit until the last minute or so when he helped Arkansas get back into that game after they fell behind by 10. But Arkansas's offense is bogged down a little bit when JD is running the show, just because he's a little bit ball dominant. And I don't think there's no two ways about that either.
Yeah,
I mean,
you can't say that softly. He is ball dominant.
Yeah, for sure. He has been playing better over his last 6 games. I mean, we rattled off all those shooting numbers from him, and his steals are up almost 2 a game over the last 6 games, over his first 22, and his assists are up over 1 per game in that same span. That's positive, but Arkansas's offense for the season is pretty efficient, but when JD's on the floor, it can bog down a little bit. Another thing that I'm going to be keeping an eye on is Devo Davis in the open floor in transition, getting easy buckets. He didn't have, I don't believe he had 1 transition score in the SEC tournament, and that was against LSU in the second half. I think Arkansas, specifically Devo, needs to find a way to get back to being like just a terror in the open floor and getting Arkansas easy buckets when its half-court offense isn't set. And those scores in the open floor can be a little bit demoralizing at times. And anytime you can get easy offense where you're not just kind of going through the motions in the half-court, always a plus.
All right, key number 2 for me is you got to let Moses Moody be a bucket. Let Moses Moody do what he can do. I think there's a quote that says, big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games. Moses Moody is your big-time player. I don't think the spotlight will be too bright for him.
Agreed.
Let Moody be your guy. Whether it's off the dribble in the mid-range, shooting through 3, my offense is going to flow through Moses Moody. That doesn't mean that I'm going to neglect Justin Smith down below. JD Notae can take his shots. Devo can take his mid-range. Jalen Williams can even get involved. But I'm going to make the other team their first and second priority. I'm going to make that be Moses Moody, to where you have to defend him off the shot, off the catch and shoot, and then you have to defend him off the dribble. You make that the priority, you open up the game for everybody else, I think. And then going on down the line. If you can get production from him like he is very capable of, then I think, like I said, it opens up the offense for everybody else. And Arkansas could be a second weekend team.
Yeah. So to your point on Moses, the last 10 games, he is 8 of 18 on catch and shoot threes from the left wing, and he is 11 of 22 on the right side of the floor on catch and shoot threes. Let Moses be Moses. Get the ball to him in his spots. He's not going to force it. I mean, he takes, maybe 1 shot a game. You go like, Moses, what are you doing? All of the other ones, you're going to live with them. And just keep letting Moses do his thing on the offensive end. He'll let the game come to him. He's not gonna go out of his way to get his number of shots. Like, he's not going into a game with a goal set. I've got to get X number of shots. It's gonna come to him. My second key is just Arkansas's front court in general. What are you going to get from Connor Vanover? And this is Justin Smith's first NCAA tournament game also. So what's the mindset for him coming in? You know, he's back in Indiana, kind of a homecoming of sorts for him. And what's Jalen Williams going to be able to give you his first game back, you know, from after 4 games off? Because I mentioned earlier that Moses Moody said it looked like he didn't miss a step, didn't miss a beat, didn't lose a step on Monday in practice, but that's 4 games where you're not running up and down the floor. Practice is not nearly the same as a game. So is Jalen, and what do we think the minutes are going to look like for Jalen? Do you think they're just going to throw him back in there and let him go for 30?
No.
I wouldn't guess so. I would probably push him in the 18 to 24 range if I had to guess. I mean, Jalen can give you great productivity in that amount of time. Like, I've looked it up this year. I think he's finished with 7 or more rebounds like 4 or 5 times when he's played 23 minutes or less. And so it's not like he's got to go out and play 30 to 35 minutes to give you, good work on the boards. He just needs like 18 to 24, 25. And I think he can make a huge impact in that time span.
All right, Scottie. Rubber's meeting the road right here. We're going to have a basketball podcast in Mid-America next week, regardless of what happens. But are the Hogs going to be playing when we have the podcast next week? Are they a second weekend team?
I think so. Pretty confident. They've got to hit on those keys that we just mentioned. Like,
yeah.
Jalen Tate needs to be on the floor, because in addition to him being a good perimeter defender, like I said, he is a really underrated scorer in the lane. I mean, Simon told us the first time that we talked to him, back when Arkansas's season was, it was wishy-washy on whether Arkansas was even going to be in the tournament field. Jalen Tate's good getting to the rim off the bounce. His drives to the rim are really efficient. His long mid-range is better than his short mid-range, which is kind of crazy. And Jalen will set up scoring opportunities for his teammates. Like, he is far, far, far and away Arkansas's leader in potential assists this year. And it's not even close. And so his creativity in opening up scoring avenues for teammates is highly underrated. And I think Arkansas's got to have that, because you've got to have terrific guard play to survive and advance this time of the year. And so he's a huge key. And as long as Arkansas doesn't have any guys that just kind of step outside of their role, I think they're a second weekend team. I
agree. That's kind of weird for me to say. I know it's weird for Razorback fans to hear, because they've been waiting for this one since 1996. But if Arkansas does everything that they are capable of doing, then they will be a second weekend team. And then once you get into that second weekend, man, anything can happen.
Do we want to look at Texas Tech a little bit, just for funsies?
We can. We could do an emergency pod if they win. So
okay.
We'll hold on to that. We'll hold on to that information, but giving you a little tease there that it may just be an audio only. It just depends on how busy Scottie and I are, but we might throw together a few points on whoever Arkansas plays.
Go ahead.
When does Texas Tech and Utah State play?
That's a good question, buddy. I wish I had an answer for you right off the top of my head.
I put you on the spot, didn't I? Dad,
I don't know. I'm sorry. Look it up real quick.
Well, as he does that, let me let you know that the basketball broadcast of Mid-America, well, we're going to be back next week, regardless of what happens. As I said earlier, you can check us out on wholehogsports.com, wherever you listen to podcasts, and as well on YouTube. That's where the video version is. This week's video version, ran into a little snafu, so that's why you got a picture of Scottie towards the end here instead of video. But we've remedied it.
Remedied.
Yeah, it's easy for me to say. We remedied it.
Yeah, so Texas Tech and Utah State are going to play at 12:45 on Friday.
So like an hour later.
So like right after
they play at Assembly Hall.
Right after Arkansas ends. Yeah, they're playing in Bloomington.
They're playing at Assembly Hall, and then Arkansas is playing at Purdue's home court, correct?
They're playing at Bankers Life Fieldhouse, which is Indiana Pacers.
Arena, okay.
Playing in a pro arena.
It's pretty fun. It's an exciting time. Razorback fans, sit back, enjoy it, soak it in. Basketball fans, sit back and enjoy it, because the NCAA tournament, after just over a year ago, was ended, and everything was just ripped away from us. So we have it back. So we're really excited.
Also, join the basketball podcast of Mid-America's ESPN Bracket Challenge. We've got over 40 people in there right now. Thank y'all to everyone who has joined to this point. We are working on a prize for the winner.
Do you want to tease the prize?
Yeah, you can wear it.
Oh.
You can wear the prize.
There it is. There it is. Working on a winner. I'll throw that link in the description. It's WHSBPMA. If you go on the ESPN Tournament Bracket Challenge and you want to join our group, WHSBPMA. Also, like I said, I'll throw a link in the description.
Shout out to Swan Fusion. He was like one of the first guys to join the old group, and then I had to put another link on the board to the new group, and he was in there.
Yeah, you can put all blame on me on that one. I did not pick. Sorry, I said we're going to wrap this up, but this is just a funny. Seth Campbell did not pick Arkansas to lose to Colgate on CBS. That was Seth Davis.
That was hilarious.
But Seth Campbell did mess up the ESPN bracketology thing the first time.
Yeah, several people on the board thought that you just, had it out for Arkansas and out to get them.
You know what? I would take all that flack if I also, my paycheck also
looked like
Seth Davis's. Instead, though, I'm not going to take that flack for Seth Davis and then my paycheck be missing commas. So for Scottie Bordelon, I am Seth Campbell.
I wish my checks had a comma.
Loving every minute of our podcast here, and we hope that you enjoyed the ride. Check us out, as I said, wherever you listen to podcasts, on YouTube as well, and on wholehogsports.com. Hopefully we'll see you back here later on in the week. But until then, have a great week.